All right. Welcome everyone to the final class for our speech class. We will have 3 different classes featured today. We have level 1, level 2, and our public speaking and debate class. The purpose of joining the speech class is to become better speakers. We have students who would not come up here because they were petrified. That means that they were so consumed with fear, they thought that the whole world was going to explode and they would not live another day. Nobody has died. Everybody is still here. They have all become better speakers, and because of what they've learned, they are a little bit better than when they started. Today, we hope to showcase their skills. I've asked them to speak about things that they are passionate about, something that they know about, and they're going to all have fun. They're all going to have fun. Even you, Selena, and you, Kelly, you're not going to pass up. Our speaking order for today, there are 6 students in level 1. Taran will be first, Hank will be second, Michael will be third, Kelly will be 5th, Selena will be 4th. Well, yes, and Lisa will be 6th. And we are having a little technical issues. We hope that everything will be resolved with the traffic, and I'm hoping that Lisa's PowerPoint does arrive by the time that she needs it. There are judges today. Our 3 judges are in the back of the room. Michelle He, Juliana, and Missy Key. They will be our judges. And I will be the timer. You'll see the green card when you met your minimum time. Our level 1 class is 4 to 6 minutes. The minimum time is 4 minutes. They'll see the yellow at 5. They'll see a green card at red. And at that point, they'll have 30 seconds to wrap it up because they are trying to not go over the 4 to 6 minutes. And I'll be in the back of the room. I will also introduce the speakers. So the speakers are to come up here and not start speaking until I get myself back there and I give you a little nod. You understand? So you'll have time to breathe. Karan is our first speaker today. And she is going to enlighten us about 3 special animals, and why Taran picked this topic is still a mystery, which I'm sure she will reveal during her story. Please enjoy Taran's story about her 3 special animals.
I added speaking notes.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I don't want you to stand behind the podium. If at all possible, I'd like for you to look at us, and I'm going to get to the back of the room. And
To the brink of extinction and possibly back. Why do I always do an introduction? I always do an introduction because you get a heads up on what you are about to listen to. You wouldn't want to be groping around in the dark just to find your phone with you. Anyways, today you will be presented with the knowledge about 2 endangered species and a spectacular animal recovery from extinction. This is your narrator speaking, and this is your narrator shouting. A Siberian tiger is a subspecies of tiger that lives across Eastern Asia. They are one of the 6 subspecies of tiger, along with Bengal, Sumatra, South China, Indo-Chinese, and Malayan tigers. The Siberian subspecies is the largest subspecies of tiger. And like the species as a whole, the IUCN considers them as endangered. However, thanks to strict conservation laws and protection, the Siberian tiger is safe for now. Siberian tiger physical features. The Siberian tiger looks like any other subspecies of tiger. They have orange-red fur and sometimes even marigolds in the sunlight. They also have black stripes on their bodies as usual and a white or cream colored belly. This subspecies of tiger is the largest of all tigers, if you don't count the saber-tooth, because it lived in such harsh, rigid conditions, but the saber-tooth. Most individuals are a little over 10 feet long and weigh over 660 pounds. Compared to the other subspecies, Siberian tigers have thick, dense fur and sturdy, stout bodies. The primary habitats of the Siberian tigers are taiga, snow forest, boreal forest, and birch forest. The Siberian tiger lives in many harsh conditions. Winters are extremely cold and snowfall can be very high in the winter. The vast majority of the population lives in remote mountainous regions, far, far away from any human settlement. And most of their habitat choices revolve around prey availability. The big cat lives in much of a smaller area than it has historically roamed. Most Siberian tigers live in East Russia and northern China. Their population lives primarily in the Sikho-Alin mountain range. Outside of their natural range, a small controlled breeding population lives in zoos across the world. Their range spreads throughout more of Russia into Korea and more of northern China. Like the rest of the subspecies, the tigers are carnivores and they eat only meat. They're skilled hunters and travel long distances in search of prey. Their hunting method primarily involves stealth. They get as close to their prey as possible and leap upon it to capture and kill it. These cats eat a variety of food, including elk, wild boar, a variety of deer species, rabbit, salmon, and more. Facts. Unlikely camouflage. Though it might not look like it, the tiger stripes are actually very impressive. Camouflage. When looking at a tiger on a blank white background, each stripe seems to stand out. However, the colors and the patterns in the forest are far from flat. In tall grasses or in forest, tigers' stripes blend perfectly in with the environment around them. A cat in danger. While they're not out of the woods yet, Siberian tigers have come a long way. In fact, in the 1930s, hunting drove the population down to just 20 or 30 tigers. Researchers conducted a study in 2005 and concluded that there were approximately 360 Siberian tigers in the population. While Siberian tigers are not out of the woods, they are on the right path. That's today. As in the past, hunting is a major threat to Siberian tigers and all other Siberian species. Poaching is not nearly as prevalent as it used to be, but it still occurs. After poaching, habitat loss is the next most destructive factor in their decline. A remote upside. Because these tigers live in such frigid and inhospitable regions, their habitat is usually the strongest defender. Fewer people live in that areas that Siberian tigers inhabit than those of other subspecies. Because of this, there is much. Darwin's fox. Darwin's fox is a small endangered canid that lives in Chile and on Shoal Island. It has red, dark gray fur with reddish areas on their head and muzzle. Darwin's fox was first collected from the San Pedro Island off the coast of Chile by the naturalist Charles Darwin in 1834. It was long held to be a subspecies of the South American gray fox, but however, the discovery of a small population of Darwin's fox on mainland Nahuelbuta National Park in 1990 and a subsequent genetic analysis has clarified the fox status as a unique species. Darwin's foxes occur in Nahuelbuta National Park and on the Valverde coastal region on mainland Chile and Shoal Island. They are found only in the southern temperate rainforest and inhabit areas of primary forest. Darwin's foxes are solitary animals. They prefer to hunt and spend their time singly and interact with each other only during the breeding season. They are most active at twilight and before sunrise. Darwin's foxes are omnivores and occasionally scavengers. Their diet includes mammals, reptiles, beetles, invertebrates, fruits, and berries. They will also sometimes eat amphibians and carrion. Fragmentation of the forest adjacent to the national park and on the island is the main threat to Darwin's foxes. Feral dogs may also pose a serious threat to their survival by spreading a disease or directly attacking. Persecution by people who think that foxes attack domestic fowls is also a potential problem. And that's it.
Thank you, Turan. Our second speaker is Hank, and Hank also has a PowerPoint. Where is it? Please welcome Hank. Hank is going to tell us the tale of the epic poem. He's liked how history is overlapping himself. Is that what you meant? Is that what you wrote? Iliad. The poem Iliad, and how history is overlapping itself. Operator error on my part. By Hank Homer. Merry Christmas, he says. So please welcome Hank. Hank, don't start until I get back there. I know that's what you want to do. Thank you.
The Iliad.
Wait,
What?
I have to nod, remember? Okay, you're up. Go.
The Iliad by Hank. Please take caution while reading this book because this book contains humor and hard work. And yeah. The very beginning. The beautiful goddess Thetis and Peleus, son of Aeacus, was having a wedding, but only one goddess was not invited. Eris, the all-powerful Zeus, did not want trouble in the banquet, but even though she was not present, she still got to her old tricks. She put a golden apple, saying that for the most beautiful. So Athena, Hera, Aphrodite, got in a fight, saying that they are the most beautiful goddess. So they asked Zeus, but he said, "Don't involve me in your arguments." Zeus told them to ask a shepherd named Paris. the judgment of Paris. So when you hear the word Paris, do you think about that bakery around the corner or the Eiffel Tower in the city Paris? Well, personally, I think about Paris, Paris of Troy. When Paris was born by his mother Hecuba, Paris, this was not news to Priam, his father. His father, Cassandra, the wisest oracle in the city, aka Priam's daughter, she said Paris must be killed or else Troy will burn. But Priam did not want his son to die in an undignified way. Hecuba, Paris's mother, said, "I'll climb Mount Ida and throw him into the emptiness." Indeed, she did climb Mount Ida, but did not throw him off the cliff. She gave some random shepherd Paris and left crying all the way to Troy. Paris later became the most handsome man on earth. The most beautiful goddess. Now we all know the goddess in the bottom. If you don't know, that's Athena. That is Aphrodite, and that's Hera. As we all know in the last chapter, that Paris has grown up to be the most handsome man on earth. So Zeus told the three goddesses to find him and ask whom is the most beautiful goddess. Hera promised that she will make him the most strongest mortal. Athena promised that she'll give all the wisdom a mortal could want. Aphrodite said that she will give him the most beautiful woman as his wife. This was all Paris needed to hear. The winner was Aphrodite. A short time later, Paris was recognized as the son of Priam, only to leave again, this time for Sparta. There he met Helen, the most beautiful mortal, wife of the king of Sparta, Menelaus, also the mother of Hermione. Under the love spell of Aphrodite, Helen fell in love with Paris. So Helen left her country, Menelaus, and her daughter just because of the love for Paris that Aphrodite placed in his heart, in her heart. The face that launched 1,000 ships. Menelaus, sad with rage, he had no doubt that he needed the help of his brother Agamemnon, king of the Greeks. So Agamemnon did what any bloodthirsty king would do: start a war. The entire Greek army was assembled immediately. 100,000 men aboard 1,080 ships headed for Troy. From the heavens, Hera and Athena stirred up anger for the men. Paris will be killed for his crimes. Let the war begin. After doing various sacrifices and toasts in the name of the gods, the Greeks started their attack. But the Trojans showed that they would not be conquered that easily under the orders of their grand champion, the powerful Hector. Pallas Athena, goddess of war, protected the Greeks, but the handsome and divine Apollo protected the Trojans. The balance could only mean one thing: a bloody war that would turn the waters of the Aegean Sea to turn red with blood.
Sorry.
Frustrated by the skill of the Trojans, Agamemnon decided to steal food from the nearby islands. There he met a girl priest of Apollo and kept her a slave in his tent. His brother Menelaus suggests that they need more soldiers and Achilles. So Agamemnon tells Odysseus to tell Achilles to join the war. Achilles will come with me. Indeed, the wise Odysseus kept his word. But the great Achilles only had one request: free the girl priest named Cressida that Agamemnon took from the island. But Agamemnon said no and asked that he wanted his attractive slave Briseis in order for him to release Cressida. Agamemnon was really mad and almost killed the king of the Greeks. So Achilles did not join the Greeks in the end. And that is a part of my PowerPoint.
Thank you, Hank. We already did that. Thank you, Hank. Our third speaker today is Michael. Please welcome Michael on his speech, Jack the Ripper. Hold on.
Hello, my name is Michael, and I'll be talking to all of you about a horrifying yet exciting story. Now, many people have the opinion that fictional stories and books are more exciting and interesting than non-fictional stories. And I won't say if that's true or false, but sometimes it's easy to forget there are hundreds upon thousands of actual events that are also very interesting and exciting. Today, I'll be telling you about Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper was a serial killer who originated from London. Not much is known about him, however, he is said to have killed at least 5 people. The canonical 5, murdered between August 31st and November 9th, 1888. The 5 victims were Mary Ann Nicholas, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, and Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. At the time, Whitehaven was in one of its worst states. It was an overcrowded district for many of London's born unemployed. Fights and murders broke out every so often. Regardless, the brutality of the murders and canonical 5 really surprised the officials. Now, our story starts with Mary Ann Nicholas, who was found dead on August 31st, 1888. Approximately 3:40 in the morning when Charles Cross found the body on Bucks Row and was quickly joined by Robert Paul, another passerby. Her hands were cold and both men thought she was dead. However, instead of seeking help, they were more concerned about being late for work and continue their commute and planned to inform the police on their way to work. Luckily, Constable John Neal was right behind them and found Mary with a long cut across her throat. John Thane heard from Cross about the body and immediately called Dr. Llewellyn. 15 minutes later, they were accompanied by Dr. Llewellyn, and he estimated that she had not been dead for half an hour, since the blood around her neck and parts of her body was still warm. This meant that Cross and Paul had found her body mere minutes after she was killed. Dr. Llewellyn later said that it was clear the murderer had at least a basic anatomic knowledge, for he had only attacked vital parts. The murderer's next attack was 8 days later. On September 8th, when the next victim was found, it was 6 in the morning when John Davis, a local tenant at 29 Hamburg Street, opened the back door to find the dead body of a woman lying on the ground. Inspector Joseph Chandler was the first on the scene and immediately requested for a medic. Dr. George Phillips arrived half an hour later and found the woman terribly mutilated. The throat was dissevered deeply and the abdomen was completely opened, with the intestines lifted out of the corpse and laid on her shoulder. The post-mortem examination revealed that many of her organs were missing, and Dr. Phillips believed the murderer had some anatomical knowledge. The victim was later identified as Annie Chapman. Then came the double event. It was September 30th when the next 2 victims were found. At 12:30 in the morning, Joseph Leif stepped out of the building to get some fresh air, using the side door. Right after, Morris Eagle entered the building via the same entrance. 20 minutes later, Louis Diemschutz entered the side alley on a horse, which abruptly veered left. Louis thought he could make out a faint outline lying on the side of the wall. He lit a match and saw a woman lying there and immediately rushed inside on the building to check his wife. Then he alerted the other people in the building and proceeded to go find a policeman. However, something worse was happening less than a kilometer across the city. At 1:30 on the same morning, Constable Edward Watkins patrolled Mitre Square. Watkins' route would take him through the square about once every 13 minutes. On his first round, the square was deserted. However, during his next rotation, he found a woman lying in the southwest corner of Mitre Square. Her throat was cut and her stomach was ripped up. She was lying in a pool of blood. Dr. George Sakura and Frederick Brown later arrived on the scene. The intestines had been drawn out and placed on her shoulder, and she had suffered major injuries to her face, throat, and abdomen. She was also missing some organ, including a kidney. With her estimations and Watkins' testimony, she had died minutes before she was being found. The same conclusion was reached back in Duffield's yard, where Frederick Blackwell and George Phillips had arrived on the scene, but the victim here had only suffered injuries on her throat. However, the two murders in Duffield Yard and Martyr Square were separated by less than a kilometer in 45 minutes. This allowed for the possibility that when the Yamshits clattered to the gateway, he accidentally interrupted the murder, and since there was only one entry to the alley, the murder was forced to hide in a dimly lit corner. Then, as soon as Yamshits rushed into the house, the murderer quickly ran out and proceeded to finish his business in Martyr Square. This is all speculation, and there's no evidence that these two murders were connected. The woman in Duffield's yard was later identified as 44-year-old Elizabeth Stride, and the woman in Martyr Square was 46-year-old Catherine Eddowes. Then came the last murder of the canonical five, Mary Jean Keller, possibly the most brutal of all. On the morning of November 9th, Thomas Boyer was on his way to collect rent from room 13 in Miller's Court, since they had fallen behind. But after knocking twice with no response, he walked around the corner, peered through the window, and was immediately dumbfounded when he found the body of a horribly mutilated woman lying on the bed. The door was locked, so the police had to use a pickaxe to break it down and get inside. What they found inside was truly the things you find in nightmares. I won't describe it for your safety. Not much is known about her life or her whereabouts before the murder, and no witness was present at the time. What we do know is that it was possibly the longest mutilation and took about 2 hours, while all the other ones took 5 to 10 minutes. Nevertheless, that is the canonical five of the Whitechapel murders, and were the ones most likely committed by Jack the Ripper. Still, much is unknown about the murders, and some of them might not have even been committed by the same person. But these are the best guesses for now. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you learned something.
Told me it was gonna be gruesome. It was. All righty. Our fourth speaker is Selena. Please welcome Selena on her essay, The Fair Chicken. Oh, you want the?
Yeah.
Oh, I can get it. I can get it.
Wait, this is a contest. What? What is this?
Here, just. There you go. Is that big enough?
Nah. How do I move this up?
Here, I can just zoom it.
I can do it just like.
Sorry.
Wait, what happened? Wait, what? Wait, let me see this. Wait, can you close it?
It's not on the screen.
Wait, I think I sent it before, but I don't.
It's what?
Yeah, I just revised it like.
That's not the revision. Did you send me a revision?
I think I did. Let me check.
You sent me something on 12/4. Where'd Selena go? Do you have it on your device? So you just want to use that? Lisa, do you have your, while I'm stopped here, do you,
Back home, she's going to send her game,
okay,
so.
all right. Thank you. You sent it again? Can't you just use it from your device? It doesn't need to go on the screen.
You sent from like Gmail.
You sent it to well, you sent it from your Gmail.
Oh yeah, here's this.
Right. Soon as we get to the back.
Wait.
You don't need it up there. They don't need to
Okay.
read it. It's your speech.
Okay.
Please don't read it. Hold on. Anytime.
Hi, I chose this topic because the chickens I had gave me the inspiration to write this topic on the fair chicken. It is based on a true story. My topic is about a chicken who was born fair but wanted to lead a normal animal life. It isn't my fault that I was born fair. The moment I came out of my eggshell, all eyes were set on me. I poked my head out and ahs and coos filled my ears. I looked around and all my relatives were circling me. I stumbled out and fell out onto the nest. My mom was proudly holding me like a prize. I puffed out my chest and tried to look astounding. I was instantly dropped to the ground when my sister began hatching. All the attention was on her now, and I can't wait to have somebody to play with. All the adults gasped in horror and started clucking about how weird my sister turned out. I squeezed through and saw my sister. She had abnormally large feet and wings. Her head looked small and she had the weirdest shape. My mom turned all her attention on me again. She told me to wait for her while she goes hunting for worms. I sat in the nest counting my fur. Finally, she came back with my brothers and sisters. I was ready to eat a horse. Instead, my mom handed me a worm, a single worm. I looked at her as if she was crazy. She insisted that I eat less. I slurped up the worm and eyed my sister's food hungrily. Before I knew it, I was being taken into our hen house. As I yawned, as I slept, I felt something tickle my foot. It was my sister. She hushed me and took me outside. We sat on the grass and stared at the stars. I ran around, feeling free. I picked up worms and insects and gobbled them down. I never felt so happy. As soon as the sun rose, my sister and I scurried back before Mom noticed. Mom won't let me do anything fun. While my siblings were frolicking around, I was working on my posture. I was angry that night. My neck hurt because of stretching it to absolute perfection. I confronted Mom about it the next morning as soon as the roosters crowed. She said, "I'm trying to help you, but fine. If you want to play with them, then go play." My mom glared at me from every angle possible, but I didn't care. Nobody wanted to be my friend because they thought I was spoiled. The only person I have is my sister. She didn't care about the way I looked. She accepted me. All my aunts kept plucking that I wasted an opportunity. I didn't care if I wasted an opportunity or not. I kept looking for friends, and finally, one chicken didn't assume my personality based on my looks. I was so grateful to have a new friend. We spent lots of time together and we became closer and closer. When we got older, we decided to escape from our house and run away. That never happened, but oh well, we could have been eaten by wolves, so that's good. But we did do one thing though. We escaped from the farm by crawling through a gap between the ground and the fence. Shh, don't tell the farmer that. But after a little while, the farmer caught us feather-handed. He threw us over the fence, and the next day there were people adding extensions to the fence. He knew he couldn't escape now. But who said? I discovered a huge fan by the other fences, and it was tall enough for me to jump over the fence, but short enough to get me on. As I and my sister jumped on, we weren't so lucky. The fan started blowing, and we flew up about 5 stories high. We stayed there for minutes, clucking an alarm. When suddenly the wind stopped and we fell down immediately to our death. That didn't really happen. We are smarter than you think. We flapped our way down to uphold the force of gravity. We flew down to safety. As a daredevil, I decided to give it one more shot. I jumped up, leapt from the fan, and fell down to the ground. I was excited to see the world outside, but scared that there was no one to accompany me. I clucked about the fence, unable to think of a way to get over it. There was nothing to help me get over it. When I heard the house door opening and some seeds pouring out, I panicked. I started clucking really loud, and I knew the farmer noticed me missing, so he looked around. And as he neared the fence, I could hear his footsteps. He peeked over the fence and palm-faced his face. As he jumped the fence, I noticed that he wasn't angry, but happy. He threw me over the fence and waited for me to run to the food before he jumped the fence again. As I ate, I decided one look is enough for one chicken. I never went back there again, thankfully. But something unfortunate happened. The farmers were moving, and watched the 2 children coming back and hugging us before they left. I was left with a jolly old grandpa, aka animal killer. It wasn't the same, and it never will be. It's been a year now. I started to become less useful. I was scared as I was picked up from the coop and carried into the kitchen. I watched the butcher's knife go down in slow motion. Well, this is the end for me. See you in another life, dear farmers.
Where are you? Good job, good job. I think I have it. I have 2, I received 2. Yeah, I've received 2. Yep, it's there. So she'll be fine. All right, now. No, you'll be next. You'll be after Kelly. Kelly. Technology, don't you love it? All right. Lisa, you still need to write your introduction for me. There's a piece of paper back there on that table. Please welcome Kelly to tell you about a really horrific story she wrote. Because even though she hates horror stories, she wanted to write one as an experience. So please welcome Kelly. Thank you, and don't start until I get back there and give you a nod.
A really horrific story. Why? Homework. Write a fictional or non-fictional story. Me. I ran out of ideas. My brain. Why not write a horror story? Me. You know I hate horror stories. My brain. But I mean, you have nothing else to write about. Me. Fine. But don't blame me if it's horror. And that's how I ended up writing this story.
Fine.
Three best friends. Three best friends of names Brooklyn, Ashley, and Andy. I know I just said that they were best friends, but there was this itty bitty problem. Yes, they were best friends, but they were also involved in a love triangle. Andy and Ashley liked each other, but Brooklyn also liked Andy. 2 weeks ago, the three of them were in the cafe drinking coffee. They were talking about school. Brooklyn got up and said she had to use the restroom. She left and was never seen again. Now, Brooklyn goes missing. Ashley and Andy are devastated. To cheer themselves up, they decide to join a party with all of their relatives. There, Andy and Ashley dance. Suddenly, Andy hears a scream. He shakes his head. He probably imagined it. He keeps dancing. Ashley hears a scream. She asks Andy if he heard it. Andy's blood suddenly freezes, so he didn't imagine it. Andy counts all the people there, then checks the list. A person is missing. His body goes numb. It's also a really important person, his granddad. Slowly, each party guest gets murdered. Until only Andy and Ashley are left. Terrified, the two friends decide to expose the murder. They make a plan in a few minutes. Don't know how they did that though. They cover themselves in other people's blood and pretend to be dead. Then they wait. Wilkins step through the dark. Ashley and Andy immediately jump up, but they instantly freeze. The shock of discovering that their best friend had killed all of their loved ones was horrible. No way, says Andy and Ashley together. How can it be you? Wilkins smirks. Haha, you guys were easy to fool. Never suspected a thing. But why? Ashley manages. Well, you see, suddenly sirens are heard. A group of police officers come in with guns. All three of them raise their hands. The scene of three people standing there surrounded by dead bodies was a little bit suspicious. Yeah, totally. All three of them were handcuffed and thrown in the backseat of a police car. Finally, Brooklyn can finish her story. As I was saying before, I was jealous of you two always being together, sharing secrets and feelings. I've always had feelings for you, Andy. The rage consumed me, so I made a plot to kill you, Ashley. That day, I left the cafe. I actually didn't use the restroom. I was meeting with an assassin. He was supposed to kill you right away. But then, I heard that you were going to join a party with all of your loved ones. I decided that to hurt you most, all I needed to do was kill them. I told the assassin to kill them, and he did. I slowly walked to see the damage for myself, but then you two jumped up, and here we are. Ashley and Andy were dumbfounded. How could their friend turn into a monster? But then something snapped, and they both came back to their senses. They finally accepted this fact and mentally dug a grave for the old Brooklyn. Reaching their destination, the police grabbed them and brought them to the main officer. Their Brooklyn gave up and revealed everything. She got sent to jail, but Ashley and Andy got released. They got a happy ending, some would say. Really, they didn't. Was it worth all of that murder and turning into a monster? No, but that's how the story ended. Yeah.
right. You have our sixth speaker is Lisa. Lisa, do you have your introduction? Thank you. Upside down and backwards. Please welcome Lisa. She will give us a speech about food ducks. Hold on, I'm gonna have to share it. It's on Google Docs. Not working. Sorry, it's not your fault this time. Is it F4? Thank you, guys. What did I just do? I think I just went
No,
forward.
it's
Hold on.
just have to slide. That was great.
Duplicate? Is that what you want? There we go. Yay. All right. Okay. Don't start, Lisa, until I get to the back. Thank you. And that's what she did as well.
A few days ago, I saw two ducks standing by a no fishing sign. Today, I'll tell you why they were there. There were two ducks named Nibbles and Pickles. They were good friends and loved to eat fish. Every Friday, they would fish together. One Friday, they met at the most fish-filled place to fish as usual. Except they saw a sign that they never saw before. It read no fishing beyond this point. As they read the sign, they were very confused. Why could they not fish? It seemed so unreasonable. What can we eat? They thought. There must be exceptions for ducks. The two ducks looked around the sign looking for exceptions. Nibbles looked up, Pickles looked down. After inspecting every corner of the sign, the two ducks finally came to the conclusion that the careless humans forgot about the hungry ducks. The humans forgot about us, they thought. The ducks, Nibbles and Pickles, knowing that they could not get as much fish as before, set off for a different place to fish.
Thank you for all of the speeches. We had 6 speeches, all given from the children's perspective. They chose the topics, something that they were all interested in. We are going to take a 5-minute break to allow our judges to tally their results. There's water in the back, and I need to inform you if you need to use the restroom, it's at the end of the hallway right here. Come on. Yes, everybody needs to have some. Henry's here. Henry, do you have your introduction, your written introduction for me? If not, you need to come up here and. Put it down. You have a written introduction. So I can read it. How am I gonna introduce you without it being written? Send it to my email? Come here and show me. When did you send it? What's your email? Type it right there so I can see it, because I didn't receive it. There it is. Thank you. Okay, now you don't have a PowerPoint or anything.
I do, okay, but I don't need to use it.
You're not using it? You didn't send it to me, correct?
No, I don't need to use it.
Okay, perfect. All right. All right. I can do that. Henry, you are number 5. You're the 5th speaker.
You want to secure the ballot at the bottom or just leave it all?
I guess I need to tally them up, huh? So, yeah, you'll need to tear them off so I can tally them. Thank you. Or you can give me the whole thing. Yeah, you don't need to tear it off.
So why is there like a podium? Because like what if you don't have that?
Then you have to hold it. You have to hold it like this, like I showed you. Like, there is a podium, there's this one. If you don't have one, you'll just close this, you can use this. You put your stuff right there. This is a little podium. Okay. Do you have any props, Yaya? Okay. All right, that's fine. Did you get my emails? Yeah, well, I replied to you.
You did?
Yeah, so Henry. You're number 5. Thank you, Henry. I don't know I don't have my book. That's you'll have to ask the person that what the password is, or maybe the lady in red. For what? Go ask the lady behind the concession desk there. No. Yes, well, no, because you haven't been awarded your, we'll be awarding your prizes at the end of the second level. We'll be beginning in 1 minute. Henry, you'll be number 3. I misspoke. You'll be the 3rd speaker.
Wait, so like the timer, oh, sorry. Oops. The timer job, like, do you use your device? Because
Yes,
like if you have your thing on your phone.
yes. If you want to use it, it'll detract from your statement, but all right, we're ready to start. Are all judges ready? Thank you. Put it in my seat. Yes, you may. Don't talk while in the back, and please silence your phones if you have them on. Giving all of our students a chance. The order of our speakers for level 2 class are Yaya will be first, Luke will be second, Henry will be third, Hal will be fourth, and Angelina will be fifth. Today, their topics will range from fiction or nonfiction, and they are choosing a subject that interests them, and it'll be on something that they've been working on their evaluations. We suggest things that will help them improve. Some of the students don't move around, some of them don't use vocal variety. Some of them I call sticks. They get stuck in the center and they don't know what to do. Some of them sway. So we'll look for improvement in our level 2 class. Our first speaker today is Yaya. Yaya will tell us how she makes a snack. She chose this topic because she likes, it's all about self-help. The title of her speech is Yum, Yum. You got to say it like that, girl. Please welcome Yaya. I get back there and give you a nod, okay? Thank you.
I am no cook, but after some research on YouTube and Google, I realized that a healthy snack I can make at home is a smoothie bowl. Today, I will teach you the steps to just how to make one and share some easy recipes with you. The first thing to know before you make a smoothie bowl is that to make one, you don't need a $300 Vitamix blender. Just use whatever you have at home. Bullet blenders also work. However, if you are using a bullet blender, you should definitely cut the amount of ingredients in half since the blender is pretty small. The first step is to gather all of your tools and ingredients. You'll need a blender, a tamper if you're using a Vitamix blender, your frozen fruit of choice, a 1/4 measuring cup, and a milk or liquid of your choice. The next step is to pour your base fruit into the blender. Some people use bananas as their base, but others don't like bananas. so pineapple works too. Remember to only use frozen fruit. After that, add the rest of your frozen fruit as well as 1/4 cup of your milk of choice. Then use the tamper tool to mash the frozen fruit into an ice cream-like substance while having the blender on low. I recommend blending on 2 cycles just because you should open the lid at least once to stir the mix. Make sure to keep the lid on while the blades are in movement for your own safety. Now that you generally know how to make a smoothie bowl, I'm going to share 2 easy recipes with you to help you make them with various ingredients. The first recipe that I'm going to share with you is how to make an orange summer smoothie bowl. First, gather your ingredients. You'll need 2 cups of frozen peaches, 2 cups of frozen mangoes, 1 cup of frozen raspberries, and 1/4 cup of oat milk. Blend until it has an even consistency, meaning it's completely blended, and top it with granola, fresh banana slices, and honey, or whatever you like. This smoothie bowl is rich in iron, potassium, and vitamin C. The other recipe I'm sharing with you is a dragon fruit smoothie bowl. Add 2 cups of frozen strawberries, 2 cups of frozen pineapple, and a pack of dragon fruit, and 1/4 cup of whole milk. Maple syrup can be used to top this bowl. The smoothie bowl has a lot of magnesium, vitamin C, and iron. A pro tip for if you're using a Vitamix blender is to add your base first, then the other frozen ingredients, then the liquid. Reverse this order for the bullet blender since it's upside down. Another tip is to add no more than 1/4 cup of milk because over adding the amount of liquid will make your smoothie bowl runny, which you don't want. It'll also taste like melted ice cream. If you didn't know, the blending process takes a lot of patience to achieve success, so never give up if you think your quote-unquote cooking is a failure. Something else that you might want to know is that coconut bowls are best to eat a smoothie bowl so that it doesn't melt as fast. Smoothie bowls are actually just like ice cream because you chop frozen fruit and then mix them together to be eaten. Coconut bowls and wooden bowls are sold on Amazon and at other places for $15 to $30 for a set of 4. The reason I chose to write about this is because I like things to do with self-help. And making healthy snacks for myself can in fact be a way to practice self-help. Now I actually like smoothie bowls more than store-bought popsicles or ice cream because I can choose the flavors I want and I can make it whenever I want. I really hope you enjoyed learning about how to make a smoothie bowl today. I encourage everyone to try things that they haven't before. But if you're lazy, you can get some Ajinoba, nectar juice bar, and cold pressed organic ginger smoothie. Enjoy.
You know what you did it.
Did, Luke, come here. Did you send me an update, with the corrected spelling? Here it is. Dang it. That's what I'm gonna do this. I'm sorry, it's not your fault. On my drive. I don't know.
Didn't I send it to you?
Yes, you sent it. I even had it. I even downloaded it. It's my fault on this one. You're not gonna see it up there. I hope. Are you seeing it up there? I don't want you to see it up there. Oh, bummer. I thought I saved it. Here it is. Ha, I have it. All right, yay.
What? That's not mine. That's not mine.
This one's not yours?
No.
Okay, sorry. Whose is it?
Mine is the history of Thanksgiving.
Sorry about this.
Of all people in Sweden.
Yeah, I know. History of Thanksgiving. Maybe that's it. Okay, to continue, first verify it's you. God bless me. Don't you love Google?
Yeah, they're telling me.
Not really.
Oh my God, it worked.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
That's on me. Luke,
How do you switch slides?
sir. You don't have audio, do you? You don't have audio. Do you?
No, just me reading it.
Luke. Please welcome Luke. Luke is going to speak about the history of Thanksgiving. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Don't begin until I get back here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luke. Today, my presentation is about history of Thanksgiving. Now, I know that Thanksgiving has passed already and stuff, and right now it's December, Christmas is around the corner. So I hope you guys don't mind me telling you about the history of Thanksgiving. The date's back to November 21, 1620. It all started when a group of people fled England. Who are these people, may be wondering? They are called the Pilgrims. They fled England because they wanted to seek religious freedom and want a new place to live. They rowed a boat called the Mayflower, which might sound familiar to some of you guys, which is actually the Mayflower Compact. Later, they arrived in Massachusetts. As you can see here, there's a picture of them. That's where they arrived. And that is the Mayflower boat. The Mayflower picture is my favorite one out of them all. But you might be thinking, well, they arrived, right? So are they free? Well, sort of, but not really. They had to face their first challenge ever. Their first winter. When the Pilgrims arrived, they realized it was very cold. And I mean very cold. Since they were very unprepared for it, they don't have much food or any warm clothes. So during that time, half of the Pilgrims died due to lack of food and the cold temperature. This is a very bad start for the Pilgrims, because they will all die one by one if they don't do anything about it. You might be thinking, well, they died, right? What happened? Well, they actually survived, and it's all thanks to the Native Americans. The Native Americans saved the Pilgrims' lives. They taught them how to grow crops and taught them how to hunt. These are very useful skills that they can use down the road. As you can see here, you got some of them planting and harvesting crops, and some of them hunting animals for food. After a year, the Pilgrims harvested many crops and food. They were very thankful for Native Americans. So they decided to invite the Native Americans to have the first ever harvest festival. As you can see here, you got them gathering around, getting ready, and one is praying for God, and the other one is handing out food. This is the first Thanksgiving model. I can't lie, those food does look good. Generation to the next generation. People celebrate the Harvest Festival almost every year. And the fourth Thursday of November is Thanksgiving Day. This is the time when our friends and family have a reunion, and we thank each other that helped us on the way. This is also the time when we get to eat delicious traditional foods such as turkey and pie, as you can see on the screen. Thanksgiving turkey and pie are my favorite. Finally, I want to tell you guys some Thanksgiving facts. Number one, even though between the Pilgrims and Native Americans had a lot of wars and battles, many did die, which is very unfortunate, but later they made a compromise and made peace. Second, do you know that turkey was not on the menu on the first Thanksgiving ever? Quite interesting, isn't it? Because in the present of Thanksgiving right now, we treat turkey as our main traditional food. And last but not least, the first Thanksgiving was celebrated on November 1621 over 3 days of harvest festival. I wish it was this long, to be honest, in our actual Thanksgiving we have right now. This is the end of my Thanksgiving history. And I'd like to thank my teacher, Miss Barnett, my classmates, and my family. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy.
Good job. Our third speaker today is Henry. Henry is very interested in the American Revolution, and being interested in that topic, that's what he's going to present his speech about. So please welcome Henry, the American Revolution. You don't need that, right? Okay. Don't start until I get back there.
Have you ever wondered how America became a country? Today, I'm going to tell you how we gained our independence. Originally, America consisted of 13 colonies that were controlled by England. Because England fought the French and Indian War, they decided to tax the colonies. They made a tax called the Stamp Act in 1765. The colonists greatly protested, and so England canceled those taxes. But because they still needed money, they imposed the new Townshend Acts, which was a tax on imported goods. This made the colonists even more angry. They boycotted the goods from Britain. They protested again and again. On one protest, British soldiers fired at 5 colonists, killing them. This was known as the Boston Massacre. Eventually, Britain repealed the Townshend Acts, but they retained the tax on tea. The colonists continued to protest, and a group known as the Sons of Liberty, dressed as Mohawk Indians, threw hundreds of crates of tea into the Boston Harbor in 1773. Britain was furious, and as a punishment, they made the Intolerable Acts, which closed Boston Harbor, as well as sent more British soldiers to the colonies. 12 of the 13 colonies sent delegates to form the Continental Congress. They then formed militias to help fight against their enemy. They called the soldiers Minutemen because they were to be ready to fight at any minute. The British sent soldiers to destroy supplies and to attack the colonies.
Paul Revere and Samuel Prescott rode on their horses, warning people that the British were coming. Next, the first shots of the American Revolution were fired. The shots were later known as the shots heard around the world. The colonists then had the Second Continental Congress to discuss about the war. They formed the Continental Army, and they decided to make George Washington their leader. A major battle happened at Bunker Hill, and even though the British soldiers won the battle, they lost many. The colonists officially declared their independence on July 4th, 1776. It was approved by all members, and the Declaration of Independence was written. George Washington and his men won the Battle of Trenton, which gave the Americans new hope. Next, they won the Battle of Saratoga, the turning point of the war. It proved that the colonists could win. Other countries like France helped the colonists against the Britain. They also won the battle at Monmouth in 1778. And although Britain won a battle in South Carolina, General Charles Cornwallis got trapped in Yorktown by the Americans by land and the French by sea. His army became surrounded by 20,000 soldiers. Cornwallis finally surrendered and the war stopped. Britain and America both signed the Treaty of Paris in 1783. Britain agreed and recognized the United States as an independent country. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you. Our fourth speaker today is Chow, and she's going to be telling us a story about a boy living in Nazi Germany. The main element of this story is fake, but everything else is factual. The reason she chose this topic is that she's read so many books about World War II, and she thought that this might be an interesting topic for her speech. Please welcome Chow. Is there a snake in the room?
Carl Schmidt said that we were to write a journal entry. To quote her exactly, she said, "Write a journal entry on whatever you want, but end it with something you wish would happen. I want it on my desk by next Wednesday." We all groaned, which made her shorten the deadline to next Monday instead. Since this is a journal, I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Peter Hoffman, and I'm 15 years old. I think I am of average height and weight. Mama says I look like an Aryan. I'm not exactly proud of that. Papa says that I like following the rules, but I practically have the book memorized. My sister says that I am a nuisance. I disagree with both of them. I follow the rules only when someone is watching. Personally, I think the booklet is stupid. My sister is stupid as well. It doesn't take a genius to see that I am an amazing, smart, and funny guy. On the other hand, it doesn't take a genius to see that she is a terrible, dumb, and boring person. At school, if we misbehave, the teachers will scold us for not following the booklet. It's always the booklet this, the booklet that. We revolve around it. To be honest, I boom the food. Every morning, he broadcasts a new special of him standing atop the stage, telling people how great he is. Clearly, he is blind to all of us half-starving residents, willing to do anything for food. The other day, I saw Carl Fisher running down the street, hurrying to get home. Out of nowhere, a tall, stoic-faced soldier stepped forward. Carl skidded to a stop and was reprimanded by the soldier for breaking rule number 24 in the booklet. Then the soldier scribbled something down on a notepad and left. When I got home, I asked Mama why he was scolded. It turned out that it was Victoria's orders. We were all to follow the rules in the booklet. The reason why the soldier had written something down was because we were at the right age to be recruited into the Hitler Youth, whatever that is. Mama also said that they were observing us to see who was worthy of being a part of it. I told Mama that it sounded useless and idiotic, but a look at her face made me stop talking. I shouldn't have said that because we could have been caught. These days, you can't even say anything without worrying. You never know, someone could be listening. Most of the time, someone is. I don't even understand the point of having the booklet in the Hitler Youth. What's the point of following rules? They're bound to be broken. There are around 300 of them anyways. Who's going to bother memorizing them? Oh yes, rule number 136 says that I cannot buy jam on Saturdays. Not that we even have it around here. All they sell are dried rotten fruits and chewy tasteless meats. Even so, meat is rare to come by, and when we do get a shipment of them, they are ridiculously overpriced. Also, what does the Hitler Youth even do? Do they get to eat cupcakes and have access to comic books? I don't think so. All of them were burnt anyways. Besides, who wants to be the younger version of the Führer? Not me, that's for sure. I'm so sick of his messages claiming that he has helped us. He promised better jobs and more food. It's definitely false. How do you feel knowing that some of us are hungry? How do you feel knowing that you murdered innocent people? How do you feel knowing that we are suffering? I bet life feels so great for you sitting upon your throne, looking down on us peasants. Why don't you come down here for a day? Frau Schmidt said that she wanted us to end our entry with something we wished would happen. I hope you're happy. I hope you're so happy that one day you realize what you have done. I hope you've recalled the booklet and all the other rules that you have created with your twisted mind. I want to live a life like the one I have when I am asleep. The life where I am free of the booklet, free of any troubles. My answer to you, Frau Schmidt, is I dream of the day when children no longer have to follow a booklet. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Good job. Our final speaker in level 2 is Angelina. Angelina will talk about the story of the crow and the fox from the fox's perspective. She chose this because she likes fox. Please welcome Angelina.
Hello, I am Fox. You may or may not have heard about the story about the crow and fox. You know, the one where the crow finds food and then the fox tricks her to get food. Well, that's the modified version from the crow. You see, the crow was actually the trickster. I'll tell you the story from my perspective. It was a nice sunny day for a nap. Fox, fox, said a voice. Yes, Miss Crow, I shouted from my small den. I got eggs, exclaimed Miss Crow. Man, I am so hungry. I didn't eat breakfast. Would you mind getting some meat for me? Now, why should I do that? Why can't you do it yourself? I asked. Because I can't leave my eggs, said the black crow. What about your partner? Well, he's on a trip to visit his friends. This crow only moved in a week ago, so I don't know her well. I thought, but I guess she seems pretty nice. Oh wow, I'm also starving. I haven't eaten since yesterday. Okay, I'll try to find the biggest piece of meat. Then can we share? I finally said. Miss Crow didn't speak for a whole minute. Okay, we can split it, she said in a weird voice. Then I went off to find some meat. Soon, I found a large piece of meat just laying on a rock near the river. I found meat, I exclaimed. I did it without hunting. I grabbed the meat in my mouth and headed back home. Oh, now I won't starve. Miss Crow said she would share, I thought with glee. I did it at last, Miss Crow, I yelled as I trotted to the tree. Oh, great. Whoa, that's humongous, she cried from above. Can I split it now? I asked. Since when did I ask about sharing? This crow said in a menacing voice. Before I left? Yeah, but I didn't promise. The darkness of her feathers made my spine creep. That's not fair. You said we could share. I haven't even eaten since yesterday. And I spent a long time finding this. I shouted. Who cares about you? You kill other animals just to live for yourself. You should know it's every animal for themselves in these woods. I froze, thinking deeply about killing the other animals. She swooped down to grab the meat. Then she went through a random portal. Well, at least I think it was. Huh? I thought with confusion. How did she do that? I then saw her appear near a lake, then transforming into a two-legged witch, well, I guess a human witch as they call it. Then she disappeared again. I went back to my den, feeling sad and hungry, also confused. But it didn't end there. I found another surprising thing. Chirp, 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 something called. A cricket was on my nose. Huh? It's already night? I felt a weird stab in my stomach. Oof, I'm starving. Wait, if Miss Crow was a witch, then what about those eggs? I thought. I scrambled up the tree and next to the nest. Well, what was the nest? It seems like a button. Good thing I'm a gray fox, or else I wouldn't be able to climb. What? Where's the nest? A button? I hesitated, then pressed it. I fell into darkness with a message. You are in my trap. You can't be saved. From Mrs. Crow. There was a piece of meat in front of me. I reached for it, then disappeared. It seemed like a button, because next I heard a bubbling noise, then it became like super burning hot, then I blacked out. I then woke up back in the forest as if nothing happened. The forest was different, except for the old tree. This forest was much more alive, with beautiful birds and butterflies. A female fox and a litter of pups were bouncing around me. Hey, Dad, are you awake? Tell us a story. You said you would yesterday. A little orange fox was bouncing on my back. Not knowing what happened, I started talking. That leads right back to the beginning.
Thank you, Angelina. Wow, 5 amazing stories from level 2's classes. We're going to take a 5-minute break to let the judges decide, and we'll all meet back here with the presentations for level 1 and level 2. So that concludes this portion of our time. 447. Yours was 559. Something about having. Yes.
昨天写的，也批出来肯定没准备好。那个你这个可能两期，不两期，上个月做。我们这是今天才做，你早一点就回来，准备可能前两期就准备了，我们今天早上起来又做这个准备上去也是做了练，要早点练习，就是干练练，对吧？这个练的练出来的话，就是我给你找词，对啊，不要说一次到不好听啊，那你就那个练。我也是上一个东西，我要你明白那个。那我们上午今天很赶慢的啊，赶到考试完了啊，赶完了，也没有说没有给专业，也没跟我说哎，自己在啊，我要不说，我你叫我打，所以有一点点出来了。我们这里是要做的工作做完啊，说我说靠真钱不要放弃，然后
Are all my students here?
I think so.
Looks like I'm missing people in chairs, but I want all my students here. Thank you. Did you all have a good time?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. One of the reasons that we have public speaking is because it is the #1 feared thing that we do. How many of us want to get up in front of 50 people and give a speech? Even if you have to read the speech, you want to do that? Sign up. I'll be helping you next month. Now, each and every speaker spoke about a subject that was interesting to them, and we were all enlightened. And there can only be 1 or 2 winners, but I want each and every student to be recognized. My level 1 class, when I call your name, I want you to come up and then just stand right here, and I'll bring you all up here. Lisa. Applause, applause. Look at me. Smile. Be happy. Stand over there. Selena. Look at me. Thank you. Smile. Be happy. Kelly. Thank you. Look at me. Smile. Be happy. There you go. If I'm a 4th person, they should know what they need to do, right? Hank. There he is. Look at that. Now, are you Turan? Look at me. Thank you. Good job. And Michael. Gotta look at me, buddy. All right, here we are. This is our level 1 class. The winner of the best speech for today is the person whose first speech, she said, Selena, and I'm gonna die. Please welcome Selena as our best speaker today. Our next winner is Kelly. Thank you. There are. We want some pictures, I think, from this class. So all get together. Oh,
Let me tell you something.
yeah, go ahead.
It's supposed to be the second, right?
Oh, there's, oh,
Yeah.
sorry. No. It's supposed to go. There you go, girl. I won't do it wrong the next time. There we go. All right, so there we are, our winners. Now you finally right.
I'll give it here.
Maybe, all right.
Here, I'll give it here. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, everybody get together. Come on.
Everybody get together.
Lisa, Michael, everybody's shorter than me, stand in front of me. There you go. That's almost everybody except Michael.
Get closer. Okay, everybody, look in front. Yeah.
That's why they enjoy my class, because I make it a little interesting. Y'all ready? All right, thank you, guys. Our level 2 class, please recognize Luke. Look at me, smile, shake my hand. Cal. Angelina. Here. Henry. Eye contact. Thank you. Good job. Yeah. Thank you. This is our level 2 class. All right, and the winners for our level 2 class are, with his speech on Thanksgiving, please welcome Luke. Luke, we gotta make it so that it looks right. Good job. And our second best speaker today was about the fox and the crow. Here we go. This is our winner from our class, our second class.
Go ahead, Brown.
All right, everybody get together. Come on. Here we go. Thank you. Good job, girls. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I can't believe we're kind of on time. We're only 3 minutes after 4. And the second portion of our contest will be our speech and debate. And they're excited. They're ready to go. We're going to give this class some time to leave if they want, or they can stay for the speech and debate portion, which will begin in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm signing before you're. Everybody good? Okay, we'll begin in 1 minute. Since my contestants get in here. Hello, Leo. Glad to see you, sir. Morning, Ben. I would like my debate students on the front 2 rows, please. Set it right here on this one. Yep.
So do I like leave my computer or do I put it up?
Yeah, you just set it down and open it up.
Yeah.
Or you can just bring it up here now and set it up here now. Why don't you come, 'cause I'm gonna introduce you within a minute. You can just stay right here. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third portion of our contest day. And it is a contentious race between debaters. Our third class is all about speech, public speech, and how it relates to debate. In a school setting, many of the teachers incorporate debate as a tool to help the kids learn how to develop an argument for or against one side or the other. In our speech class, what we tried to do was introduce the elements of debate that the kids need to know about and how they use effective speech techniques to help them develop a good argument for or against. We have 2 propositions today, and they are interesting topics chosen at random. The teams are chosen at random. But one of the side effects of this class is that we have developed a gavel club. So young students interested in public speaking. And today we have the president of the gavel club here, Leah Fu. And I'd like you to welcome her.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leah Fu. I go to Wood Creek Junior High and I am an 8th grader there. Today, I would like to introduce you to our Rice Breakers Gavel Club. We are the first Toastmaster youth branch in Katy. And Toastmaster is a club where we want to improve and learn more about public speaking and at the same time communication skills, which really helps us a lot with engaging with your audience. And this is our essential goal that we want everyone to learn. And through this learning process, you can learn how to structure presentation and incorporate tone and body language to really engage with your audience. And these are And we welcome anyone who are interested in learning more about public speaking, or anyone at the same time want to practice their leadership skills. In this club, not only for example, I am the president, but other than presidents, we have other opportunities for your kids' leadership skills, like vice president membership, vice president education, a club treasurer, sergeant at arms, or president public relations. These are all the opportunities. Anyone can join, and anyone that's under 18, of course, but we encourage you to try out this club, and there's opportunities to practice your leadership. And some of my vision as president is that we want to collab with more clubs, more people to we can have a larger community, but also we can work on building a community and service and leadership through volunteering. These are some of the things that I want to keep working on, and some of my goals in this club. But also I would like to thank our sponsor, Ms. He. Give her a round of applause. Yeah, I would like to thank Ms. He. She really helped us a lot with starting this club, and she really encouraged and support all of us youth. But also I would like to thank Ms. Barnett, I would like to thank Ms. Barnett, who really taught me and taught a lot of kids public speaking, but also she's teaching me debate this year, and I learned a lot from her. But also Ms. Zhang, she's not in the room, but she really helped us with this idea and really encouraged me a lot. So if anyone is interested in joining, you can contact me, Ms. He, after the debate. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. All right, and we'll be.
I want to also thank Mr. Key. He was instrumental in helping us get the club started.
Yeah. Thank you.
Toastmasters is a wonderful program. It's worldwide. Any adult or student can join Toastmasters to become a better speaker, a better leader, and we all learn from the way that other people speak. We all bring our own talents and our own skills to public speaking, and then you hear somebody and you go, wow, that's a great way to say that. I think I might try that. And that's what and how Toastmasters came about. Today, we have a debate contest, and I'm going to tell you the structure of this debate. The structure of this debate is there is a proposition on the table. And what these students have done is they have researched the topic, and they have been assigned a pro and a con. Each have a team of 2 that will be working together. The first proposition that we will hear from today is the proposition would ban combat drones. The pro team is Jane Zhang and Ella Song. The con team is Leo Zhao and Victor Fu. They each have 5 minutes of an opening remark with 3 minutes of rebuttal, followed by a 5-minute recess. Then they will come back with 3 minutes opposing rebuttals and a 3-minute closing remark, ending with a 1-minute closing remark to wrap up their position on the topic. All of these times are maximum. If you hear me say thank you, that is, you've met your time, then they have maxed out their time. So please welcome the first team, which is this house would ban combat drones. Please welcome James and Ella to the stage. I'm ready and my timer is ready. Yeah, you want me to go green at what, 3, 4, and 5?
3, 4.
3 and 4. Okay, so here's your warning for all times. 3 minutes, 4 minutes is yellow, and red will come up another 30 seconds later, means you need to wrap it up. Okay, so on all of them, your minimum time will be a green. And don't start until I sit down and looking.
We affirm the resolution. Resolved, we should ban combat drones. The framework for today's debate is health of the people, whether it is physical or mental. Whichever side protects more health people's health shall win today's debate. Combat drones define an unmanned combat aerial device of a vehicle. Contention 1, problems in identifying people leading to deaths of civilians. Everyone who followed the withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan was horrified by the drone attack called a tragic mistake by the Pentagon, which killed 10 members of a single family, including 7 children. Darmani Amandi, who worked for the Nutrition and Education International, a US-based aid organization, became the target because he drove a white Toyota, went to his office, and stopped to pick up containers of clean water for his extended family. Those actions, deemed suspicion by the drone surveillance program and its human handlers, were enough to identify Admani falsely as an ISIS-K terrorist and placed him on the kill list for the day. The killing of the Amani family demonstrates that all weaponized drones, whether autonomous or human-directed, must be banned. It would be comforting to think that the Amani killing was one of those 1 in 1,000 tragic affairs from which no conclusion could be drawn. But such belief would itself be a mistake. In fact, as many as 1/3 of people killed by drone strikes have been found to be civilians. It was 21. Many targets of drone strikes have been in residential areas, increasing the chances of civilian casualties. Human Rights Watch found that the 12 men killed and injured and 15 injured by US drone strikes in Yemen in 2013 were members of a wedding party and not militants, as US officials told journalists they were. In another example, a 2019 US drone striking targeted an allied ISIS hideout in Afghanistan, mistakenly targeted 200 pine nut farmers resting for the after a day's work, killing at least 30 and injuring 40 more. US drone attacks initiated in 2001 when George W. Bush was president increased dramatically from approximately 50 total during the Bush years to 12,832 confirmed strikes in Afghanistan alone during Trump's presidency. A primary rationale for the change in strategy was reducing the threat of US casualties, but no attempt to reduce the deaths of American soldiers should also cause more parents, children, farmers, or other civilians to die. Suspicion of terrorism, particularly based on faulty intelligence, cannot justify execution, nor could the desire to save American lives be substituting drones for feet on the ground. According to netivist.org, decisions concerning who is the enemy and who becomes a legitimate target of a drone attack are often controversial. In the context of the war against terrorism, defining who the militant or simply a sympathizer is not easy. Some sources claim that around 80 to 90% of people killed by drone strikes were civilians. How many of them were terrorists and actively helping terrorists? According to Maitra Zinko, PhD, a political scientist, and Amelia May Wolf, research associate in Center of Prevention Action at the Council of Foreign Relations, drones are far less precise than airstrikes conducted by piloted aircrafts, which themselves also conduct precision strikes. Drone result in far more civilian fatalities per each bomb dropped. President Obama's policy of signature strikes allowed the CIA and the military at JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, to target anyone who fits a specific terrorist profile or engages in behavior the US government associates with terrorists, regardless of whether they have been conclusively identified as enemy combatants. Classified documents leaked in October 2015 showed that one 5-month period of drone strikes in Afghanistan, as many as 90% of those killed were not the intended targets, and those unintended deaths were classified as enemies killed in action, regardless of whether they were civilians or combatants.
Thank you. Please welcome the pro side to This House Would Ban Drones, Leo Zhao and Victor Fu. And once again, you'll see green at 4, yellow at 4:30, and red, no, green at 3, yellow at 4, and red at 4:30.
We state that the House should not ban the combat drones. The first reason is that the combat drones was controlled by high technology, which can think a billion times faster than the human's brain. For example, on a mission, that the combat drones can always attack the enemy exactly where it should be, but a pilot might miss the target. Also, the human brains always can make mistakes, but as I said, the technology will never miss mistakes. So the combat drones is better than the fighter jet.
Combat drones also don't risk the lives of the pilots. Because some of the combat drones aren't actually just AI controlled. The pilot actually controls from an allied base that through a remote control and the camera. The person who actually pulls the trigger for the combat drone to fire its bombs is the actual person that's controlling the drone, not always AIs. And also, according to information from Springer Nature Limit, F-16, the most widely used fighter jet in the world, will produce at least 36 tons of pollution each year. Compared to this, all combat drones are using batteries, which won't produce a single pollution.
Some of you might say that the combat drone can kill a lot of people. But the fact is, sometimes instead of using a fight, the combat drone is also used as a rescue source. The military sometimes will put a searching radar in the drone, which have about 9 miles of searching range. This have exactly like a really huge efficiencies to search for the wounded and transfer the medicine resource supplies to them. According to the rescue map of the United States in 2022, over 800 people were saved by the combat drones.
Drones in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all those places have killed between 7,000 to 14,000 militants and allied militants, including high-level commanders organizing an attack against the United States. Also, according to drone.procon.org, a January 23, 2020 poll, after the 3 drone strikes that killed the other people in Afghanistan, 35% of Americans agree that drone strikes are a very efficient way to achieve U.S. military things.
Drone strikes in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Somalia have killed between 7,665 and one. Okay. According to President Obama, dozens of high-skilled force commanders, trainers, bomb and makers have operatives have been taken off by battlefield thought and have been disrupted by the target interruption invasions. U.S. transit system, European city, and our troops in Afghanistan simply out. These strikes have saved lives.
Drones have saved many pilots' lives and helped us be a safer place in the United States. So that is why we are against banning combat drones. Thank you.
The pro argument has up to 3 minutes to share their reason for their position and respond to the points from the opposing team.
We'll be continuing our last speech. So contention 2, drone strikes create more enemies than they stop. The purpose of combat drone is to stop enemy and eliminate the terrorists. But due to the fact that it might kill innocent civilians, those who see their family get injured or killed in a drone strike are more likely to get motivated to join the enemy and to get revenge. For example, according to www.rt News, that drone strikes in Pakistan have killed 1,000 civilians and victims of the drone warfare, and their family live in constant fear of another strike. And they say they're very angry and want revenge. David Rode, who was held captive by the Taliban for 8 months, state that the Taliban were able to gain recruits in their aftermath by exaggerating the number of civilian casualties. Let's say if a shooter killed one of your family member, will you let him walk away or you want him in jail? Contention 3, the use of drones violate human rights. Drone strike can hide the human rights abuses that occur in countries. They often skip the steps taken by the ground troops. The human rights clinic at Columbia Law School state that while integration and detention, as recent history shows all too well, carry their own risk of human rights abuses. These non-lethal approaches at least provide the opportunity for assessment or whether target individuals in fact pose a threat to U.S. interest, an opportunity taken off the table by drone strikes. The U.S. Army also state that drone strikes are targeted killings or political assassinations, which is taboo in war, are banned by the 1907 Convention and the 1998 Home Statute and Statute, and is a violation to the human right to life inherent in Article 6 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. According to Professor Charlie Carpenter, both acts violated human rights and the international laws. Thus, we affirm the resolution.
The opposing argument now has up to 3 minutes for further reason on their position and respond to the point of the affirmative team with their evidence.
That's okay.
Our statement is to defend that combat drill should not be banned. After the reason we have just said, that also we have such a few reasons, because since the combat drill have a smaller size and weight, it doesn't mean much fuels to work. In the study of the resources, a combat drill can be used for 64% less than the fire jet. That's not all. Our drills are also environment savers. According to the information from the Springer natural limit, F/16, the most widely used fighter jet in the world, will produce at least 36 pounds of population each year. Come back to this, all combat drills are using battery waste and work each work, which won't produce a single pollution to like the gas. Also, the combat drill are a great way to save time and resources. For example, people usually spend millions of dollars and ages to training on the militaries, on the pilots. But this will no longer necessary to the drones because there's no pilots in there. No, the military just need to spend money to build the combat drills and can use technology to control it to go to the wars.
Some places that our ground troops can't get to, the combat drones can. The places that our ground troops can't get to can also potentially be dangerous, maybe even killing our allies and ourselves. Also, combat drones kill less people or civilians in war. Because civilians' death is unavoidable in war. Of course, they always try their best to not get any civilians involved, but it's not guaranteed. Combat drones are already much better for the environment and is already more accurate than ground troops, also saving our military and people.
Apparently, the combat drill have a much benefit to the humans, so our state is combat drill should not be banned.
Thank you.
There will now be a 5-minute recess for each team to confer on what the opposing team presented. So they should get together in different.
And then when there's what's out of your this
Show up green when you're halfway through. Halfway, you're halfway through, like before, on this next slide, you'll get 3 minutes. At green, 4 minutes at yellow, and then 30 seconds later. We got about a minute.
Right, you can work down this day too. Oh, this might not be.
You don't barely ask direct questions with the response. I'm gonna go over it. Okay, so the second portion of our debate will be the pro team will have 3 to 5 minutes to defend their point and then rebut the other team without adding any new evidence. So we'll begin with the con team first. The affirmative rebuttal will defend their point in rebuttal 3 to 5 minutes. At 3 minutes, you'll get the green card. 4 minutes, you'll get yellow, and 4.5, you'll get red. Then the opposing will close with up to 3 minutes to summarize the debate and explain why their group's point is better than the affirmative. And then they'll have 1 minute each to wrap it up. Right? When I get to the back, I'll bring up Leo and Victor. Yeah. So it's the opposing team. And you have.
Sure.
Yeah, this is fine.
Sure.
No, this is asking a question.
Wait,
What's the question?
oh, I believe that's the next part, right?
Yeah. Ready?
Our point is that combat drones shouldn't be banned. According to www.brookings.edu, US strikes in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, and Yemen from 2002 to 2020 have killed between it's not right. 800 to 1,000, yeah, that's right. 800 and
to 1,750 civilians, while 8,000 to 33,000 plus have been killed in the Ukraine and Russia. Civilians have been killed in the Russia and Ukraine war.
Many of you might think that who thinks that combat drill should be banned might think that combat drill can kill a large number of people. But if you think that our topic is should we ban the combat drill or not? But if you think that if the people who use combat drill actually hurt the civilians, it's not a problem of the combat drill, it's a problem of the people who send the orders. See, if you use the combat drills, it is in a war, if we use the combat drills, you destroy like the electric station or like the military warehouse. This is a goal of to end the war quickly, which bring the peace before a large amount of people really die. So the mission of the combat drills is actually to bring the peace, not to hurt more and more people.
Like Leo said, even the highest technology can still make mistakes. It's just very unavoidable, like I've said before. From AI to the person who gives orders, from the person who pilots the combat drones. We all try our best to avoid killing civilians, and we also try our best to not have casualties. So
this is our point that why combat drill should not be banned. Thank you.
You now have 3 to 5 minutes for your affirmative team to defend your point and refute the opposing team's point without bringing in new material.
Okay, so first of all, they said it's not the problem of the combat drone, it's the problem of the pilots, the people who pilot the combat drone. But in our first contention, we stated that drones are far less precise than airstrike conducted by piloted aircraft, which themselves also conduct precision strikes. Drones result in far more civilian fatalities per each bomb dropped. So this proves that if you drive an aircraft, it's gonna be more precise. A drone is gonna have a bigger likelihood of hitting a civilian. So and you also said all technology is gonna have faults and stuff like that. But first of all, you're gonna have to have a prototype. You have to test this out. If it's gonna cause so many people to die, okay. In our first contention, we said that just in Afghanistan during President Trump's term, okay, just in Afghanistan, okay. We said that 12,832 confirmed strikes that was Afghanistan civilians. That's only in 4 years, only civilians, and it's not really all recorded, so there could be more civilians. So if it's going to cause this many deaths, why risk it right now and not make a better prototype? And you said that's going to be it's going to be helping the environment, right? But is making batteries not helping the environment? Is making all of this in a factory going to help the environment in any way? It's still going to release carbon emissions. It's still going to release those kind of bad materials into our atmosphere. You also stated that it's to bring peace because and you're trying not to kill the civilians. But in our first contention, we stated that many targets of drone strikes have been in residential areas, increasing the chances of civilian casualties. And plus, you said there was fault of because of the tech. There was a lot of casualties because of technology, right? But when we stated this family, 10 members of a single family getting killed, it was a mistake. It was a mistake by the Pentagon. It was a human that was operating that, and the humans suspected that a person driving a Toyota getting water for his family is a terrorist. That's what they suspected. So that was not technology who made that fault. It was a human. And another thing is, if we have pilots, the reason we have an army is so they can protect the civilians and not the civilians risking their lives because the pilots drive this drone to kill people. Okay, that's not how it works. And they never and then we affirmed the resolution because, first of all, the drones have problems in identifying people, which is going to lead to deaths of civilians. And also, drone strikes create more enemies than they actually stop. Also, the use of drones violates human rights, and that's why we affirmed the resolution of banning drones.
Now we are going to hear from the opposing a 3-minute closing statement that will summarize and explain why their group point is better than the affirmative.
Okay. As I have said, that the combat drill, even if it have killed people, but also it's still I'm still stating that the combat drill is controlled by technology, so it can trying to kill as much less people as it can. Also, even though the combat drill have killed people, but also the fighter jets controlled by the human also have killed people. So if they have both killed people, what's the difference between them?
As you stated, one of the combat drones was controlled by a pilot. Just like any other ones you stated, pilots have more precise attacks. And of course, we do make prototypes, and it's just not as easy as you say it to just fix it and just create another prototype. Plus, you also stated that the Afghanistan alone killed 20-something thousand people, well, civilians. But in the Ukraine war so far, there has been 33,000 plus more just between this 1 or 2 years. And also, combat drones actually is better for the environment because think about it. The F-16, like we said before, is the most widely used fighter jet. And to make those, you also need a factory. It's not just batteries that you need a factory. Even though batteries aren't really good in the short term, but in the long term, they'll last us longer. Fighter jets right now that have jets produce more pollution than a single flight on a combat drone. Sure, it does need a factory, but so does a fighter jet. It's unavoidable. And plus, the rubber tires and anything needs a factory to make. We can't really do anything about that right now, as of right now, because we just don't have the technology to. So that is why we think combat drones shouldn't be banned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will hear up to 3 minutes from the affirmative team to summarize their debate and explain why their group point is better than the opposing view.
Okay, so we affirm the resolution resolved we should ban combat drones. So our framework for today's debate was health of people, whether it's mental or physical. So they did not say a framework, so we just automatically think they're going by our framework. And they have never stated anything that's going to be benefiting any human's health or mental or physical health. So that they're basically not following out. If they didn't state a framework, they're going to follow our framework. So they're not following anything. And second of all, so I don't think they really understand our point about the Afghanistan. We never said there was a war in Afghanistan, okay? We said that there was just 1,800, we said there was 12,832 confirmed strikes, just strikes in Afghanistan during Trump's presidency, only during Trump's presidency. And they said there was like around 800 to 1,700 deaths caused that killing like the military people. So, but from our evidence, 80 to 90% of the people killed by combat drones are civilians. So let's just say if that 1,000 is like 20%, right? 20%, that would be like how much? 4,000 people killed, 4,000 civilians killed. So that's going to be a lot more than than the militants killed, okay, and than the enemies killed. And they also they stated that it's gonna the batteries are gonna, yeah, they're made in factories, but other things are also made in factories. And but if they're also made in factories, why would we not use an aircraft that is more precise and not kill, that doesn't kill as much people than the combat drone? If it's gonna both produce pollution, then why not use the one that kills less civilians? Why use the one that kills more civilians? If it's gonna kill civilians, why should we use that? And they have never touched any of our other contentions. Our second contention, our third contention still stands strong because they have not said anything about them too at all. And we negated their everything on their side. And they said that it says, and during the first during their introduction speech, it said no pollution at all, no pollution, produces no pollution. That's what you said. And then they had and then we proved, and then they've said that it does cause pollution. So they are messed up. They messed up on their point. So that's why you should vote for the affirmative.
Now you have 1 minute to respond to the affirmative.
We should not ban the combat drone because it can bring so much benefit to us. It can save so much lives and save the environments. It was the best way to protect the environment and save lives. People can avoid so many unnecessary sacrifice.
She stated that because they're all made in factories and they all have pollution, why don't we just use the one that's more precise? She also stated that the drones are also, some of them are also manned by humans. The ones that are more precise is also. And some of the planes that are manned by humans uses the same type of bombs and missiles as the drone. So if a person controls a drone and a person controls a fighter jet, why would it be not as precise? And also, of course, batteries are made in factories and have pollution. In the long term, it'll do us better. So that's why I think we should ban combat drones.
And the final statement from the president. They have 1 minute.
Just jump through the titles and I'll add on to
We get to the next part.
Okay, read all the titles. Okay, read. Okay, yeah. Read the titles and read this, yeah.
We affirm the resolution resolved. We should ban combat drones. The framework of today's debate is the health of the people, whether it is physical or mental. Here. Contention 1, problems in identifying people, leading to deaths of civilians. Contention 2, drone strikes create more enemies than they stop. Contention 3, the use of drone violates human rights.
Since they did not state of since they did not state their framework, so we automatically assume they're going off our framework. So none of their points followed our framework at all. And second of all, they never touch any of they never touch our first and second contention, which is drone strikes create more enemies than they stop, and the use of drones violates human rights. They never touched any of those contentions. They only focused on our first contention, and everything they said about our first contention and all the other points we made, we refuted them, and we proved them wrong. So that's why you should vote for the affirmative.
What do you think? For or against? Very nicely done. Okay, we will take a 5-minute recess before we begin our next proposition, our next debate. So the teams get ready. Good job, Ella. Good job, James. Good job. Everybody take a deep breath. 5 minutes.
Whatever that means. What the heck?
That's not spaceship handshake.
So like, it's like this. It's not. Yeah, it's the broken handshake. It's like the broken handshake. What are you talking about? So scared to excuse me. The paragraph are really interesting.
They were all the time, the research that happened. So they knew their process, and then the lab. They didn't have to get together.
I just don't understand.
So let me show you. So it, up to 5 minutes. And then the max 3 minutes. Wow. Then you'll have up to 5 minutes.
You look like
And then you'll go back to where. And then
so there's like this full right.
you go back and those 5 are max. That's not the structure how. However you want.
That's a good thing. So she's going to be.
Well, we always have to.
We don't talk about it. It's like what a fun scam. If I know it, it's so what do we have like? We're spending this money on. That's like what it is.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
first one was
Oh. Okay, I'm.
seventh period. No, wait, not seventh. Second and seventh, the first day. And
Second and seventh.
I forgot it.
Well, I'm gonna put this under the. I got it.
How come I hear it is?
You know how first you define it, actually, I will, well, it's not, but then the answer already. And there's been a problem with that. There's no. You're all. Although I believe something about. I know.
This is an iPad. Why would there be a Windows line? This is an iPad. Look, iPad.
I can't have. I can't. No, it's. Oh. Then now. Really? I like it. What a job. It's like so sensitive. Oh my God, I don't know why my dad. I think like. What do you do? Show me your point. Yeah, I just like all this stuff that's on. Yeah, see. How do we bubble? Looks like a, it looks like a, Go back. That's right. You want to say talking? I won't lie. Never know you. Personally. Okay, let's be first here, stopping and let's be.
Ooh, magic. Let's buy some magic trees.
Like, I only get to know you and guys. It's like, only get to know me. So.
I kind of want to get a magic degree, to be honest.
What?
No, I want to get the magic degree.
Like me and Dylan, like I have a friend, his name is Dylan, and it's like my really good friend.
What about that?
And actually. It's like I'm just trying to close this obvious.
Why didn't they have like no accessories for the?
Only like. Sorry, I just.
Live this one.
When did I say this person? You're right. No, I'm like, yeah, it's like, like, I could get a thing. Oh my gosh, I have all into this.
Language, please.
Keep asking her to be dated, because I think he like that. I like this.
Hello, we have reached the second portion of our debate project, and we will begin with the proposition. Oh, I forgot it. I am not debating it, so I don't need to know. Here we go. We have two teams. The proposition is that they would allow free distribution of music on the internet. Free distribution of music on the internet. The pro team is Sophia and Catherine. The con team is Leah and Neil. The pro team will begin with an up to 5 minutes for their position. And please don't begin until I give you a little nod that I'm ready.
It's like, it's easier to read. Okay. Free distribution of music on the internet is the practice of making music available to the public without charge. This can be done through streaming services such as Spotify or through downloading services such as Bandcamp. Artists can distribute their music for free through their own websites or social media accounts.
We affirm the resolution. Free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed. Music is an art form that should be shared and enjoyed by all, regardless of financial status. Free distribution of music also allows people to connect to access music they might not be able to afford otherwise. It also allows artists to reach a wider audience, increasing their chances of success. Additionally, free distribution of music can help reduce piracy, as people are more likely to access music legally if it is available for free.
Free distribution of music can save money by reducing the costs associated with the physical production and distribution of music. This includes the costs associated with manufacturing and shipping physical copies of music, as well as the costs associated with marketing and promotion. Additionally, free distribution of music can help to reduce the costs of licensing fees for streaming services, as well as the cost of paying for radio airplay.
Free distribution of music can help benefit artists by increasing their reach and exposure. By making their music available for free, artists can reach a wider audience and potentially gain more fans. Additionally, the free distribution of music can help artists build a stronger online presence, which can lead to more opportunities for collaboration, performance, and other business opportunities. Finally,
free distribution of music can help artists generate revenue through streaming services, merchandise, and other sources.
Lastly, free distribution of music can reduce piracy by providing a legitimate and legal way for people to access music. By providing a free, legal way to access music, it eliminates people's needs to resort to piracy. Free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed. It allows people and artists to save money, helps the artist reach a wider audience, and may even help to reduce piracy.
Now, the opposing team has up to 5 minutes for their opening argument.
Yeah. It's not from that. I don't just say that.
Just say that. Do it just.
Okay, we affirm the resolution and we believe that free distribution of music should not be allowed and should be banned. So free distribution of music is music like free software. They can be freely copied or distributed and modified for any purposes. And they said music is an art form that should be shared, but one of our points that through free distribution of music, the artist credit get loosened during that process because you can freely copy and artists don't get recognized as much because of they don't get credit and they don't get credit for their art and they make less money. People here's what it's not about money, but it's also about art. And what Taylor Swift said, she's a very big artist, and what she said about streaming in the Wall Street Journal, she said, it's my opinion that music should not be free, and my prediction that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album's price point is. I hope they don't underestimate themselves or undervalue their art. So it's about money, but it's also about the art. So the argument against streaming is that when their music get copied freely, you don't get the credit. So artists' artwork get underestimated, and they get less money. But also in Swift's label, Big Machine handled that business. Quote, the fact that showed that music industry was much better off before Spotify hit these shorts by Scott Borchetta. He's a CEO of Big Machine, told Time magazine. He went on claim that Spotify only pays Swift $500,000 off her domestic plays last year. That's slightly less than 50,000 albums sold when she regularly sells millions. So that means she get less money earned from after Spotify pay her less money. And also more ads. You can start reading it.
If people get music for free, artists will lose motivation. Like if artists keep spending money and create music that people doesn't end up downloading or paying for, the artist will eventually lose motivation, and then who would create more music?
Yeah, and meaning that, but also another thing about free distribution of music is you get more ads. So it's also bad for the experience of the listeners. If you pay for the album where you don't get ads, but if you use free distribution of music, that's bad for the listener's experience because of the ads. And because every time when music is produced, there's labels, producers, songwriters, all of them have to get credit, all of them have to be paid as well. So only a small fraction of the money left is for the artist. And that means
that's one of the biggest downside of releasing music in free distribution music. Artists don't get paid because of how money had to be distributed among different process, and that's one of the things.
Yeah, artist music will also have a lower perceived value. Perceived value is what people think your product, if is what people think the artist product is worth. If something is widely available for free, people will naturally feel like it's not worth as much anymore and it's easy to obtain. This is how a lot of people think about music right now.
However, something is hard to obtain where it's higher price, people naturally think it's a better quality. Thank you.
Now, the affirmative team has up to 3 minutes to share their further reasons for their position and respond to points from the opposing team with their evidence.
Free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed. Free distribution of music reduces costs for everyone in a variety of ways. It eliminates the need for physical media such as CDs and vinyl, which can be expensive to produce and distribute. It also eliminates the need for expensive marketing campaigns to promote the music, as well as the cost of paying for radio airplay. Additionally, free distribution of music eliminates the need for costly licensing fees, which can be a significant expense for artists and labels. Finally, free distribution of music can help to reduce piracy, which can be an expensive problem for the industry.
Free distribution of music helps reach a wider audience by making it more accessible. It helps allow people to find and listen to music without having to pay for it, which can help broaden the reach of an artist's music. An example of artists reaching a wider audience in the US can enjoy music from other countries such as K-pop, which is Korean pop, and reggaeton, a genre of music originating in Latin America.
It also helps to create a larger customer base for the artist, as people who may not have been willing to pay for their music may be more likely to listen to it if it is free. Additionally, free distribution of music can help to spread the artist's music to a wider audience, which can help to increase their overall sales.
Artists still get credit for free distribution of music. They might not get paid for it, but they will still get credit for all the work they've created. This credit can come in the form of recognition, awards, or even royalties if the music is used in a commercial setting.
Free distribution of music can help prevent people from stealing artists' work in some ways. By making music available for free, it can make it easier for people to access the music legally. Also, artists in the music industries who work with companies still have to pay a share of their money to others involved, such as managers, agents, promoters, PR teams, and sound engineers. So they would still lose a portion of the money they make, even without other people like stealing it.
Just know that when I show you the red, you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. Okay. Now we will hear the opposing argument for up to 3 minutes, share their further reasons for their position, and respond to the points made by the other team.
We can just start like the same. Yeah. Our side, that free distribution of music should not be allowed. Just like one of our points, music is an art form that they say music is an art form that should be shared. But sharing doesn't mean that if you share through free distribution of music, there's a lot of times that artists don't get credit, and we don't know who the original artist is, and their unique songs don't get credit. And they said that free music make more fans or stronger audience, but it doesn't mean you get more followers, because when artists don't get credit, a lot of people just from maybe other countries, or they don't know who the artist is. And also music, and also when artists don't get paid as much, or just don't get paid, they lose their motivation, and that leads to a lot of songs not being, that leads to no motivation. And just like it's free distribution of music also cause more ads, like maybe every 2 songs, every 5 songs, there's an ad popping out, and that's a really bad experience just for the listeners. But instead, if you pay the artist, or just pay the artist, you don't get ads, and then it's also a good experience for listeners. So free distribution of music is good to the artist, to the company, but also is better experience for the listeners. So free distribution of music have good things on both sides, and then helps the artist but also the listener. Thank you.
We'll now take a 5-minute recess for the individual teams to confer. You don't need to do it in separate rooms, I would think. I guess a glamorous job of speaking. Yeah. Can you go tell your sister that they got 3 minutes?
This is stable, like it's stable. This is like.
Okay, let's wrap it up, please.
That's actually kind of weird.
We have 1 minute.
Well, they already heard her.
Neil? Yeah.
Do something. Do it. Reading practice. It's not like my. It literally lands like that.
Okay, so the con side will start. Yep. Neil? The opposing side will start.
Just keep it 3 minutes.
So we have up to. So for the next 3 elements,
Yeah.
this house will allow free distribution of music on the internet. We'll hear from the opposing rebuttals to defend their point and refute the affirmative team's points without adding any new evidence.
Okay.
You'll see the green at 1.5 minutes. Then you'll see yellow at 2 minutes, and you'll see red at 2:30. You'll have 30 seconds to wrap it up. If you go over, you're in the middle of a sentence, I'll allow the sentence to be completed.
Okay.
But if you're not, none of y'all have even met your time limit, so you haven't gone over, so you're good. Okay, so then you'll have 3 minutes each. No, 3 to 5 minutes here. I'm sorry, 3 to 5 minutes. And then you'll come back with 3 minutes and 1. All right?
Yeah.
I will begin when you start speaking.
Another reason that music shouldn't be free is that artists will lose motivation. Like if the artist keeps spending money on creating music that people don't have been downloading, the artist will eventually lose motivation. If the artist loses motivation, then what's to keep the artist from making music anymore? We'll get into music. Okay. And also the artist's music will have a lower perceived value. Perceived value is what people think the artist's product is worth. If something is widely available free, people will naturally feel like it's not worth as much as it's easy to obtain. This is how a lot of people think about music right now. If, however, something is harder to obtain or it's a higher price, people naturally think it's of better quality. Because of this, it's sometimes possible to raise the price of the artist's product and make more sales
if the artist set up a lower price point.
And the artist will lose a lot of money through distribution of music. Making a good quality music that a lot of people like isn't free. You have to pay to use a recording set. You had to cost money for songwriters or producers, and all those process. A lot of people are in this process, and it's not just the artists get all the money, but the money are divided. So at the end, the more distribution of music, the artists lose more money. And this also leads to one of the points he said, a lot of artists lose motivation to making money, and it has a lower perceived value. But also they said that art is a form that should be shared to public. Music is also an art form, but you don't want people just to use your music without any credit, because how are people going to know that the artists make this music? So free distribution of music lose credit to artists, and the unique songs that artists make are not credit. So that's some, and also this one. Okay, and also, according to because Taylor Swift, she is an artist, and she really, and she, in her opinion, she said that the music should not be free. And my prediction is that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album's price point is. I hope they don't underestimate themselves or value their art. And Taylor Swift is an artist herself, so she's speaking at an artist's point of view, and the artist's point of view is that they don't want their art to be undervalued. They don't want to underestimate their art. So paying the artist also means that you really appreciate their art, and so it's about money, but also about the art and free distribution of music. And I need to conclude. Just say what? Say the points.
Yeah. So that's why we think music should. That's why. That's why we think music should not be distributed for free.
That's another point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now, the affirmative rebuttal is 3 to 5 minutes, defending their point of view and reviewing the opposing team's point without bringing in any new evidence.
Free distribution of music allows people to access music they may not be able to afford or access otherwise. It also allows artists to reach a wider audience, which increases their chances of success.
Free distribution of music can also benefit artists by increasing their reach and exposure. By making their music available for free, the artists can reach a wider audience and potentially gain more fans. Additionally, the free distribution of music can help artists build a stronger online presence, which can lead to more opportunities of collaborations, performances, and more business opportunities. It also helps to create a larger customer base for the artists, as people who may not have been willing to pay for the music may be more likely to listen to it as it is free. Additionally, free distribution of music can help to spread the artist's music to a wider audience, which can help increase their overall sales.
So you guys stated that the artists don't get credit. Sorry. But as we stated before, artists still do get credit. We stated exactly this credit can come in the form of recognition, awards, or even royalties or like streaming royalties if the music is used in a commercial setting. Finally, free distribution of music can help artists generate revenue through streaming services, merchandise, and other sources. Free distribution of music helps to benefit both the artists and the consumers because it allows them to save more money and it spreads the music for more people to enjoy. You guys also stated that artists lose motivation, but more people listen to, but our side, we stated that more people can listen to the music because the point of music is for people to listen to it. And also they can spend less. We also said that they can spend less with free distribution because they can save a lot of money without buying licensing costs. If it costs money, not as many people will want to pay for the music, and still the artist will have a smaller fan base. That's
Now we'll hear from the opposing teams for up to 3 minutes, summarizing the debate and explain why their group's point is better than the affirmative team.
We'll have to read it. Okay. Our side that we believe that free distribution of music should be banned. And because artists they don't get recognized for their credit and it's not as easy to find the original song or the artist who made it. And another point is that more ads because of when there's free distribution website, there's more ads, so it's also a bad experience for the listener. And artists make less money. Artists make less money and they lose money because making a good quality music isn't free. You have to cost or like you have to pay songwriter or producers and for marketing and promotion expenses. So all these money, you lose money during this process, but if you free distribute your money, you don't get paid a lot, and that also leads to lose a lot of motivation. Even motivation, lose motivation from not getting a lot of money, but because you are just, for example, the artist spending money on creating music that people don't end up downloading, then the artists eventually lose their motivation. And the music is a form of art. So through this type of art, artists can express themselves. But when their music ends up being free and anyone can just use your art, just use your song or music they wrote, their songs get less value and lower perceived value. That means lower perceived value is what people think your product is worth. If it's free, then people have, if something is widely available free, people naturally feel like it's not worth as much. But if it's paid, people think it's harder to obtain, where it has better quality and it really attracts more people. From an artist's point of view, just for example, Taylor Swift, she thinks that it should not be free because it will undervalue the art and underestimate the artist. Thank you.
Now we'll hear the affirmative closing 3 minutes, summarizing their side of the debate and explain why their group's point is better than the opposing team.
We affirm the resolution. Result: free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed.
Music is an art form that should be shared and enjoyed by all, regardless of financial status. Free distribution of music allows people to access music they may not be able to afford or access otherwise. It also allows artists to reach a wider audience, increasing their chances of success. Additionally, free distribution of music can help to reduce piracy, as people are more likely to access music legally if it is available for free.
Also, with free distribution of music on the internet, artists still do get credit from their music. It can come in the form of recognition, awards, or streaming royalties if the music is used in a commercial setting, as we have stated before. Free distribution of music can help to increase the visibility of the artist's work, so they have more fans and a wider audience, which can lead to more sales and revenue for the artists. Finally, free distribution of music can help artists generate revenue through. Also, free distribution of music helps to benefit both the artists and the consumers because it allows both of them to save more money, and it spreads the music for more people to enjoy. More people will listen to the artist's music with free distribution, and the artist can also spend less to produce the music with free distribution of music. Free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed. It allows people and artists to save money, and it helps the artists reach a wider audience. It also may even help to reduce piracy, as when the music is free, people don't have to resort to using illegal websites to copy the music. This is why free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed.
And now we'll hear from each team their closing response. You'll see the green at 30 seconds and the yellow at 45.
It's just like you kind of respond to them and then you kind of summarize your point this way. Our side thinks that free distribution of music should not be allowed on the internet. And one of the few points when they said that music is an art form that should be shared. I agree with that, but the way free distribution share music is through the process, a lot of artists will lose that credit through that process. So instead of just sharing the art
And the other side also said that the artists will gain more fans or followers if they make their music free. But how would you know that people will listen to them? But how do you know that people will listen to music just because if you make the music free?
And free distribution, like websites, they have more ads, and it's a worse experience for listeners, but also from an artist's point of view, that they think that free distribution of music undervalue their art, but also underestimate their self. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from the closing rebuttal remarks from the team. Yeah, 1 minute.
Free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed. Music is an art form that everyone should be able to enjoy without it having to cost them more money. Free distribution of music allows people to access music they may not be able to afford or access otherwise if it costs money. It allows artists to reach a wider audience and increases their chances of success, so it benefits both the consumers and the producer. Additionally, free distribution of music can help to reduce piracy, as people are more likely to access music legally if it is available for free. You guys stated, as we have stated before, artists artists still make money and they still get credit through free distribution. And also more people will listen to the music that they create because it's free and they don't have to spend money to pay for it. This is why free distribution of music on the internet should be allowed.
Wow, y'all nailed it. All right, good job, everyone. What do you think? Order again. Oh, yay, all right. We're going to give our judges about 5 to 10 minutes. So the bathrooms are back here. Are there any cookies left? I have no idea. There's water back here. There was cookies. I think the first 2 classes they nailed it. Y'all did a great job. What do you think of the whole thing?
The program is really fun. Improvement. I think personally I've been to that, but I think the entire.
No violence.
So some really don't do that. Winter. Like, the color. Hey, that's kind of.
So I have also. What they gave me for direction, it's like the way it is on her.
Looks nice on you.
Thank you.
Looks like a summer dress, but the color is too loud.
Right, yeah, okay. Thought I could get away with it. It's seeming like summer outside. We should have parceled out the cookies.
James. You guys actually like.
Oh, that was caught on the microphone.
Okay. He is pulling. He is pulling. It's not.
Exactly. See, it's on the camera.
Oh, look, we're on the camera.
And it's probably. Yeah. Well, I don't agree with my Oh, we're with actual things like. There's comes there. Very adopted.
To be honest, I thought it was seven. See how. I was like. Here's a bonus for you. You get to hear from one of our judges who has been in debate since she was in seventh grade. And so I'm going to welcome her up to share her experience about how you performed and just a couple of things that she is thinking about while she was listening to your debate. Just a little bit, Sharon. Okay, so I'll start with the first round about drones. So for the affirmative side, I would say that the argument was overall pretty evidence heavy, which is good, but I think the organization needs to be better. I didn't actually catch your second contention when you read it the first time, but after you reiterated it throughout your later speeches, I got what it was, so I would be aware of that. And let me find my specific speaker notes. Huh? Oh, yeah. Ella, I think you have a really good volume. I think you could work on fluency. I'm not sure how many times you've read your case over, but I would recommend reading it over at least like 5 or 6 more times, because I did notice that there were points in your speech where you stuttered, which I think could be improved if you just read your case more. I think the next step for you is you could work on better organization. So something that you'll see a lot of advanced debaters do is something called signposting. So what that is you tell the judge exactly what point you're addressing and what you're going to do. So for example, it would sound something like, Judge, they tell you this, and I have 3 responses. My first response is blank. My second response is blank. My third response is blank. When you outline it and number it like that, it's easier for the judge to be like, okay, number one is this, number two is this, as opposed to just speaking it all out because it's like hard to follow, especially for people who are listening to your topic for the first time and may not be very familiar with the topic. James, I would say, I think speak louder and work on confidence. I think even though debate is largely graded on your content, if you are a confident and loud speaker, it helps get to the judge more, so it therefore makes your argument more effective. For the negative side, I know the format of the debate is that people could like switch in between the speech, but overall, I'd recommend in the future, just stick to one person gets one speech. That way your line of reasoning is a little more clear because it's just you establish it, whereas if you switch in the middle of your speech, then you also have to make sure your partner is always on board with you, and sometimes it makes it more difficult. I ended up voting for the affirmative side for the first round because I think a lot of points in the argument even out. So for example, both sides create pollution and both sides still rely on humans. So at that point, it's just the precision. And I think the affirmative side proved that the precision is better because they had that one statistic that was like 90% of drones kill people who aren't the target. And they took that evidence and threw it in almost all of their speeches. So by the end of the round, that point I could definitely vote off of. Whereas I think the negative side also had some good points, but they just didn't flesh them out enough to where it got to the end of the round. And usually it's what lasts to the end of the round is what the judge can vote off of. It's hard for judges to go look through what you said, maybe like 3 or 4 speeches back. So those are my overall comments for the first round. Oh, and also one more point, they did also bring that you guys dropped 2 contingents, and what that means is that you guys don't really address them well enough. And I do agree that that is problematic. And I would say even if you don't have evidence for things that your opponents say, you can always come up with analytical responses. So those are just responses that you can use your own like logic and common sense to come up with. So for example, in their contention 3, they say it's like a human right abuse. And something you could have easily said was that if it's like outlawed, if it's a human right abuse, then why are people still able to use it? So clearly there is some aspect of drones that makes it legal to use, or else we wouldn't be using it. So that's like a point you could have made. Okay, now round 2. I think this debate lacked a lot of evidence compared to the first debate. So as a general audience, in the first debate, you guys probably heard a lot of numbers, a lot of percentages, a lot of dates. The second debate, I think, just lacked all of that. And that's a little problematic because at that point, your argument is just really your claim. So your claim is basically like what you want it to be, but in order for an argument to be really compelling, you have to have like the internal warranting and the evidence. So yeah, that should be something to work on. And there was also just a lot of repetition I noticed. And I know it's a little hard because towards the end of the debate, you can't bring up new points, but I do think there are ways that you can take points that you've already said, but make them better without being repetitive. At the end of the round, for me, I ended up voting for the negative side because I made this decision thinking which side would benefit the artist more, because I think the negative side convinced me that if the artists themselves don't benefit, they're not going to make music, and then people won't have anything to enjoy if they don't have quality music that artists are willing to make. So it comes down to the incentive. And the affirmative side, there were some points that I thought were good when you guys
mentioned that it reduced costs for CDs, like expensive marketing campaigns, piracy. Like you guys bring those points up, but by the end of the debate, you guys can't prove that these reduced costs still make artists earn more money. Like, sure, you can have reduced costs, but does that mean that they make more money? And then the next side just kind of shoots you guys down with that by saying, well, they completely lose like profits a lot by losing credit. So I think that was what made me vote off of them. And I would also say that, yes, they may benefit more from a wider audience, but you have to realize that the market is very competitive. So if everyone gets a wider audience, then how are people going to like make more money than their peers, right? So that was also a point that I thought of. So that's about it. But overall, you guys did a really good job. And I don't know.
So thank you for your perspective. Thank you for your insight. I think it benefits all of the students and the parents who understand a little bit more about debate. Now, it's my pleasure to acknowledge all of my speech and debate students. Woo-hoo! Sophia, come on up. Eye contact, smile, receive your plaque. Thank you very much. Leah Fu. Thank you. Everybody, come on, guys. Thank you, Leo. Leo's my best clapper. Victor. By the way, whenever you receive a certificate, you should look the person shaking you in the hand in the eye and smile. Catherine. Neil.
So what?
Ella. Thank you. My favorite tall person, Leo. This is our speech and debate team. Oh, James, sorry. Yeah, where's we're gonna there. I guess I'll watch it. I'll give it to you in a minute. All right, sorry. Yep, no, it's my fault. All right, and so the winners of the debate are. Wait for it. Did we hear it already? Hold on, I got my things.
We should move that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Guys, come here.
so. Ella and James, you are our winners for the drone debate. Good job, buddy. And the negative side for the free music is Leah, you, and Neil. Here we go. Our winners come forward and look at picture. All right, thank you. Come on up. Everybody crowd on in. I'm standing in the front. No, I mean, you'll stand in front somebody.
Okay, you stand up. Okay, you go closer. Yeah. Okay, you're yeah. Okay, and you everyone, okay? Ready? 1, 2, smile. I always predicted this.